The group of people arguing up ahead was made up of son Lian, the daughter-in-law, and her husband's relatives. When the husband's family suddenly received the divorce papers, they were shocked, while son Lian, overwhelmed with anger, accused them of having no conscience. But what exactly had happened in this family? How did things escalate to such an intense conflict? Son Lian met her husband 7 years ago, and shortly after, the two had twin daughters. The whole family made a living from small local businesses. Life was tight, but still harmonious. However, 6 months later, the couple had a serious fight over money. After that, the husband simply left the home, abandoning the 2 daughters for her to raise alone. For 6 years, he never contacted any of them. As the girls grew, the emotional and financial burden on son Lian only increased. The situation left her drained. When speaking about why Tian abandoned the family, son Lian's mother vented her frustration. He wanted to get married, he wanted a son. Any girl from the Liu family, any girl on the street would do for him, as long as she gave him a boy. He kept talking about doing business. And were the conditions good? Of course not. And paying child support, would that ever be a problem? Of course not. That was never the issue. Son Lian's mother explained that when her daughter married Tian, the Guo family had absolutely nothing, they were truly poor. That's why they never pressured the Guo family for child support back then. But recently, they heard that the Guo family's business had taken off, and that they now had over $1 million in assets. Paying support for the 2 girls would be no burden at all. Even so, Tian never made any move to help. From son Lian's point of view, the Guo family simply looked down on the girls. Because she had given birth to 2 daughters, they supposedly lost interest and therefore ignored the mother and children for 6 years. Thinking about the twins' future, they decided to confront Tian and demand clarity, and hoped he would finally take responsibility as a father. But to the reporter's surprise, when Tian saw his wife and daughters again after all that time, he reacted with indignation. He told them that he was not the one who abandoned the girls, it was son Lian, and that she was the one responsible for the current situation. He then pulled out a copy of a court ruling to show the journalists.
现在就是判决的结果是，准予原告郭某某与被告离婚，2女儿和郭某某由被告抚养，每月底付给2女儿抚养费500元。这个不是法院的判决结果吗？
不是，因为他是当时下落不明，法院也不好判。
2 years ago, he had already gone to court to file the second divorce lawsuit, but son Lian was still missing and refused to appear at any hearings. During those 6 years, he claims that he kept searching for their 2 daughters and even considered appealing to the court to regain custody. However, since son Lian never showed up, the court proceeded with a default judgment, declaring the divorce and granting custody of the twins to son Lian. Tian, on the other hand, was ordered to pay 500 yuan per month in child support. This version of events is very different from the one son Lian had told before. So, did she know about this divorce ruling? You're seeing this decision for the first time today, right? Yes, today. I never knew I was divorced from him. And are you satisfied with the contents of the ruling? No, not satisfied at all. Not after seeing this. Son Lian was deeply shaken. She couldn't control her emotions and began to cry. In her view, a decision made without her presence was extremely unfair. She also never imagined that Tian had actually filed for divorce. So she decided to take the daughters to the Guo family to demand an explanation. As soon as she met Tian's relatives, all the anger she had held inside for years finally erupted. He divorced me. I know I'm divorced, but you can't take the things. Don't take anything. You deal with this yourselves. I'm not working anymore. I'd rather die of heartbreak. Look at them, what's happening? Don't be like this. At that moment, son Lian and her mother were filled with rage. They pushed the twins toward the Guo family and walked away without looking back. The 2 children were terrified and started crying. They couldn't understand why their mother and grandmother were suddenly leaving them behind. Seeing her 2 granddaughters, whom she hadn't seen in 6 years, crying desperately, the paternal grandmother was heartbroken. The innocent children had become victims of the adults' conflict. By then, neither family was willing to compromise, and the attempt at mediation had reached a complete standstill.
他们家说就是不要两个女儿，会不会有那个重男轻女的那个影响？
没有。
没有吗？就是当时她生了双胞胎之后，家里人还是挺高兴的吧？
我当然很高兴，我做了那个好事。
没有说重男轻女的。
没有，你愿干个人，我生女我还是的。
But son Lian continued avoiding any kind of meeting. To try resolving the conflict, the reporters called her in again. However, this time, son Lian could no longer control her emotions. She grabbed some objects from the entrance of the Guo family's shop and began smashing everything in sight, completely out of control. You keep making a scene, causing drama. Don't get worked up. Don't get worked up. Don't be like this. In son Lian's view, the Guo family was now in a very comfortable financial position. Supporting 2 children would be absolutely no burden. To her, what Guo Tian was doing was simply avoiding the basic responsibility every father should have. To prevent the children from being hurt again, the reporters quickly asked son Lian and the girls to step back. But if the Guo family didn't have outdated views or a preference for boys, as the Sun family claimed, then why had Guo Tian abandoned the home so many years ago? When they saw son Lian leaving with the daughters, Guo Tian's relatives pulled the reporters aside and explained. It's not that we don't want the girls, it's that she doesn't want to come back. She doesn't want to return. She won't come home. She just won't. Why? Well, that's just how she is. The 2 of them were always arguing about little things at home, right? Yes, that's exactly it. According to the Guo family, when the couple first married, their financial situation was indeed very poor. Because of that, they constantly argued over small matters. Over time, son Lian began to look down on Guo Tian, saying he was incapable and couldn't provide a good life for the family. She eventually decided to take the children and leave on her own. During the following 6 years, without ever returning to the Guo household, Guo Tian worked hard to grow his business while also searching for the twins. As time passed, his business prospered. From the Guo family's perspective, this sudden return from son Lian wasn't just about requesting child support. She was also trying to take a share of their now millionaire family fortune. But is that suspicion true? What exactly did son Lian and her mother want? When reporters spoke with the 2 again, they said, "He has money now. His family has over $1 million. It's only fair that he give us half of it." Mother and daughter complained that the Guo family had handled the divorce behind their backs, settling everything in secret, which they saw as extremely unfair. The division of assets had not yet been done. Since the divorce was now a confirmed fact, they wanted the Guo family to take custody of one of the girls and give them half of the family's wealth. To attempt a resolution, the reporters arranged a meeting between the families at the local justice office. But he doesn't want to show up. He doesn't want to come fix this. At the time of the divorce, did you know everything that was happening? No, I didn't know. I wasn't even there. Son Lian said. Guo Tian stated that over the years he had always searched for son Lian and the girls, and even appealed to the court twice, but she never attended the hearings. He said he was willing to comply with the court's ruling and pay the 6 years of overdue child support. But, in return, son Lian would need to give him custody of one of the girls. She refused immediately. She argued that a divorce finalized without her presence was invalid, since the assets had not been divided, and that she did not recognize that ruling. I want to ask, if the sentence was already issued, shouldn't the assets have been divided? I agreed too, didn't I? Shouldn't it wait for my signature? Has he never heard of that? How can it be valid without me signing? The officials explained. If the woman cannot be found, the court can issue a default ruling. Hearing this, son Lian was stunned. The contents of the decision left her desperate. She thought about the years spent raising the twins and could not imagine them being separated. So she proposed. If the Guo family gives me all the assets, I will give him custody of both girls. But Guo Tian refused immediately. He said he would only follow exactly what the court had determined, nothing more. The dispute between the 2 sides continued with no progress. Faced with the stalemate, the officials suggested, if you can't reach an agreement, you can take the case back to court and file a new lawsuit. Guo Tian stated that this time, he will not give up custody of his daughters, no matter what happens. Son Lian said she would also wait for the new ruling, but hoped that regardless of the outcome, the twins would not become victims of the adults' conflict.
In the end, when the dust of this whole mess finally starts to settle, it becomes hard not to notice the true protagonist of this story. It's not the father, it's not the mother, it's not the mother-in-law, nor the entire family that conveniently shows up only when the camera is rolling. The real protagonist, unfortunately, is chaos, that domestic chaos that starts small, hidden between arguments about money, unmet expectations, silent judgments, and a generous touch of wounded pride. And when no one solves anything, it grows. It grows until it becomes this: two children crying in the middle of the street while the adults fight over who is more right. The irony is that in the middle of this family theater, everyone claims to be the victim. Everyone has their own version of the story. Everyone has a truth that is supposedly undeniable. But when it's time to take responsibility, that's when the blame game begins. It's the other person's fault. The justice system was unfair. The court made a mistake. The marriage ended because fate decided so, and on and on. It's that classic case where nobody is wrong, yet everyone suffers the consequences. And the most striking part is that while the adults are stuck arguing about who abandoned whom, who should pay what, and who deserves $500,000, the only ones truly trapped in the middle of this storm are the ones who have the least to do with any of it: the two girls. Two children who only wanted a normal family but ended up becoming legal arguments, emotional bargaining chips, and ammunition in a fight between adults who confuse resentment with justice. And here comes the detail nobody likes to admit. In conflicts like this, it's never just about money, or custody, or pride. It's about a silent war that began long before the divorce. It's about unresolved bitterness, frustrated expectations, and that persistent need to prove to the other person, I was right. In the end, the divorce is just the final chapter of a book that had been written long before. But there's an even more bitter irony. When the legal system finally steps in, when that stamped official document shows up, suddenly everyone rushes. Then they remember there's such a thing as rights, asset division, custody, child support, but the emotional responsibility that no one wants to carry. And it's curious how now, with a $1,000,000 fortune involved, suddenly everyone wants to solve everything for the good of the children. The problem is that children don't live off irony or off legal battles, much less off emotional revenge. They live off care, presence, and stability, exactly the three things that disappeared first in this story. In the end, this is one of those situations that reminds us why so many family dramas go viral, not because they're rare, but because they're far too common. Families that fall apart not from lack of love, but from lack of maturity. Couples who clash not over big issues, but over small explosions that pile up over time. And children who pay the price, always them. If there's a lesson here, maybe it's this. Before turning your life into a courtroom, maybe ask yourself what's really being judged: the marriage, the pride, or the inability to let go of being right. And now, if you made it this far, congratulations, not everyone can sit through a family drama of this size without hitting pause. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more stories like this, and I'll see you in the next one.